Very good.
Mhm. Come on. In the waiting room. Hi, kitty bitties. Hi, Jeff. Making you the co-host.
Hello, Miss Myers.
Hi, Jeff. So David is really needing, thank you so much that you're doing this because I had forgotten. Thank God you're going to be here because David needs me to work for a little bit.
Yep, no, that's fine. Just make sure to make me host. And
I
then
already did make you, I did do.
I'm co-host. You need to turn host over to
no,
me.
I'm not. I mean, I'm walking 4 feet. I'll make you host in a minute, but let me just say, hi, I'm turning off my video. Will you watch for Dorit? Thank you.
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my sound on so that I can hear if I'm needed, but let me go see now. David needs me, okay?
All right.
Bye. I mean, not bye, I'm just walking a few feet. Where'd he go? David?
Where's all the package of all the stickers and things? Where's all the package of all the stickers? Can't find it. Where to start? We have a whole bunch of these shit.
Yes, we do. They're in the drawer in the
Well, go find them because I can't find them. I just need to stick this shit on.
But there's, you know, it's so annoying.
She's behind on her taxes in
It will matter. Yes.
these three are these are the second. Because these are the ones that are really important. These are less important. Landmarks are really recent. These are moved away and differentiate that way. And I'm very like.
No, I'm not. Because am I getting 2 cents of each? Either because the secondary is still 2 cents.
These is nothing better.
The volume square, there's nothing. Dude, nothing that came up.
Well, I found all of those apart more than a year. But why there must be something that was so for
I definitely sent it back on your own.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Because I need to hear things, which it probably and Hugo is there.
You on, Dorit?
I am on.
Hello, and we got Hugo. Hey, Hugo. And I was speaking with Donna Jones earlier, and I think she's going to log in too.
Super duper. Hi, Laura.
Laura's on audio mode only. She's working.
Okay. How is everybody?
Doing good. How about you, Hugo?
Doing good. Just just working kind of too.
Having fun. We all have to juggle these days.
Yeah. How are you, Jeff?
I'm good. I just thank God I'm not a parent in this day and age.
Do you have kids, Jeff? Like grown kids?
I do. I have Geffen is he going to be 29 this year or 30? 30. 30. He's the only child Hugh and I have, but I just can't imagine having a kid, much less a school age kid, in this day and age. I feel so sorry for the parents.
I do too. The parents who usually homeschooled are totally laughing at us right now. Like,
Oh
you know, they knew how to do it, even though we made fun of them. And it's not just you have to do the education yourself for them. It's if they're an only child, how on earth do you deal with them learning those really critical skills at different times of their development, you know?
Well, and not just those skills, but the social, the
That's what I meant, the social
interaction.
skills.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you learned how to deal with teasing and creating bonds and friends and listening to authority, but also exercising your will to express your right. And yeah, oh man, so many different things.
And there's just no way parents can be that. There's no way a parent can be all of that you would need. And it's going to be about a year. If you go back to like start in March, probably going to end around February, March when vaccines and everyone, but that's still a year for a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time for even us. I mean, it's like, I looked at the calendar and I'm like, oh my God, it's September 1. And we have been in our homes and dealing with this since mid-March. It's like, wow.
And even before that, I don't know about you, but my household was sick as a dog, what we thought was flu in the end of January. But everything we had is what they're saying is what COVID is. So you got to wonder, has this been around even longer than we were actually told?
Yep, I did the same thing. It happened to me in December, and I was out for the whole entire month of December. I just could not get better. And again, same the COVID stuff and everything. And when I saw my doctor, he said, "Well, let's do a COVID antibody, but you need to know that we're learning that it's limited to like 3 months. So it may say no, you haven't been exposed to it." And I said, "I think I was honestly exposed to COVID in December."
I totally know I had it in January. My husband and I,
Yeah.
a friend of ours who was sick before us, one of her bandmates just came back from Korea and then was sick, got her sick, and then she got all of us sick. So, you know, maybe that person who just came back from Korea might have brought something with them.
Yeah. And I guess trust me, I would back up your guess as well. Are you in the industry? Are you a costumer in the industry?
No, I'm someone who made a living out of sewing for most of my youth. And my mom did piecework when I was a kid, worked in factories and brought home piecework. And I sewed as a kid. I sewed in factories and warehouses until I was about 19 or 20. And then I decided I was going to go to college. And I still did sewing whenever I needed extra money, did like quinceañera dresses and Halloween costumes. But I haven't had to sew for money in maybe about 10 years now, luckily.
Because you've got quite the setup behind you.
I do. I have a full sewing room. And my sewing machine is over in the other corner, but I'm not going to show it to you because there's a lot of crap over that corner too.
But it's amazing. You know. It looks absolutely amazing.
I still enjoy sewing a great deal, but don't have to do it professionally anymore. And for that, I'm extremely happy because it's a thankless, very thankless job. No one should have to do it for a living. You do not get paid well. You're treated like crap. Your lungs are always full of like fabric dust, and it's not a good gig.
Well, I'll remember you when I need something special made, but I'll check with you first and treat you special.
Why, thank you. Oh, someone else is coming on. I guess as soon as, it's 7:50, 7:29, so I guess we give it a couple more minutes. Like one more minute until 7:30. I know it's not really cool to start on time, but that's how I am.
Doreen, I'm jumping in for a second. This is Laura. I just made you a co-host with Jeff. I'm not really going to be in the meeting, though you'll see my name the whole time. I'm working, but you are
I'm
now
not gonna. Thank you for making me a co-host. I'm not gonna do anything.
Well, well, it'll allow you to watch the waiting room, and if you see somebody that Jeff did not see, you could admit them into the meeting, and you just go.
That would be a good thing.
Right.
Thank you for giving me that. But
and if the discussion gets highly interesting, you might find me actually participating. Because I said the same thing at communications committee. Oh no, I'm not participating, and then all of a sudden, while I was working, something got real interesting. It's like, wait, I want to raise my hand, but anyway. But for now, I'm just going to mute myself. You'll see my name up there as a participant, but I'm really working. Okay.
Beautiful. Hi, Donna. Welcome to the meeting.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing lovely. I don't know if you and I have actually properly met, have we?
No, we haven't. This is my first time for this, and I haven't ever met you before.
Well, I'm glad to meet you in this new world of how we are doing things.
Well, it's nice to meet you as well.
Beautiful.
I'm from West Adams Avenue, as you might know. So I'm very interested in making sure that the park, Benny H. Potter, and all the parks do well in the area of UNNC. So we work very closely when it is at normal things are happening. Our neighborhood association does a lot. So I'm here to support.
Super duper. Well, folks, it is 7:31, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jeff, would you be so kind as to put on the screen the agenda, sir?
Coming right up.
And everyone, I want to publicly thank Jeff for being here and doing this for us. I don't know how we would even run without him. UNNC and just, I think like just life. All right, does anyone have anything to talk about? Any public comment, any announcements for non-agenda items? Anybody? Well, I'll just say that this week, oh, there, Donna has her hand up. Go ahead, Donna.
I wanted to say we lost the person that we got in March. We no longer have a director at Benny Potter or South Sea Center. And I reached out and found out who is the person that's sort of overseeing, and also asked them to make sure the park was safe. The house next door was safe. And we were concerned about getting the cameras up and running, and also about making sure police were going through regularly. And that's basically what I wanted to say.
And I can update everybody on that one. In Donna's reference to the cameras, many years ago, and I mean many years ago, UNNC spent several thousands of dollars installing a camera system that had cabling going underground and going into the Isidore house, which is next to the South Seas house. They were recently vandalized, but those cameras had not been operational for quite some time. So we directed Rec and Park to at least put them back up on the poles securely so that they were a visual deterrent, not an actual video recording device.
Do we know why they were no longer working?
They were a much older camera system, and when the city purchased the Isidore house, the DVR that was connected to those cameras as they were getting ready to build out the annex was determined to have lead, and nobody could go into that building until the city properly abated.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's what happened. So right now they are fake security cameras. The park, Rec and Park, has put them back up, or is in the process of putting them back up, not to be working, but at least to be a visual deterrent. The only working cameras currently in the park are the ones that surround the bathroom building in the main park.
Thank you. Donna, may I ask you, so you got in contact with somebody?
Yes, I think her name is, let me look real fast. Sharon Nishihara. And she is the overall supervisor, I think area supervisor, for Benny Potter being one of her parks. And I explained to her what was going on, and she knew that the director that had only been there since March, but had been sent all over the place at the different parks doing homeless housing. So I told her we were concerned about the welfare of both houses, and that we heard the next door house that we're waiting to get some word that it can be tested again, because we're talking about maybe 15 years ago on lead being found there, or 10 at least. So I've asked for that many times, but she said she was going to make sure that the park rangers or LAPD that work the park go there, and she was also going to check in with everyone that was active in cleaning and working over there, just overall. And she got back to me, so that's about where we are. We have no new assignment for director, and we all don't know when parks are going to open again, but I'm sure. I asked about, I've reached out to a couple of places regarding the computers there, and because we know when it does become an asset to USD and kids can go there for work and aftercare and such, the computers aren't in very good shape. So I asked a few questions, and I have contact if anybody wants her contact.
I would love that, especially if you could just spell her I mean, if you spell her last name, we could figure out how to contact her, but that's
okay, her last name, when you're ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Nishihara.
Beautiful. Nishihara, right?
Uh-huh.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome to reach out to me, and I'll send you my contact to your phone, to her.
Maybe if Jeff could put it in the chat or something?
He can do
something. I don't know if you could open up the chat, Jeff, so people could put stuff in there. Okay.
No, I'm here. It's weird. The chat isn't up for people to be able to click. You have to be able to go to it. I think we're only on host and co-host having chat abilities.
Alrighty. Well, Donna, you're like a rock star. Thank you so much for doing that legwork. That was really cool. Maybe we can follow up with that.
I'm very willing, because as far as I'm concerned, that's my job, being chair of this area, to look after that park. So I'm always going to look after that park. So
beautiful.
Actually, chat is available. If everybody will hover at the bottom of their screen, they'll see the more button, and if they click on the more button, they can pull up chat.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other announcements that are not currently on the agenda? Oh, seeing none, we can move on. I don't have the agenda in front of me. Jeff, could you put it back up, please? I know I should have printed one out.
Say thank you for chairing this committee, Dorit.
Oh, aren't you a doll? Thank you, sweetie. Okay. So in the time of COVID, we have to, I'm supposed to give this little statement here. We're doing things in these virtual worlds by using, Zoom and all that. Everyone has to know that this call is this meeting is being recorded. I don't know what will happen to the recording, but it is being recorded because this is a public meeting. The recording will be available to the public if anyone wants it. Same rules that apply for in-person meetings. Let's just be civil and be kind. State your opinion, but please just no attacking, which I don't think anyone here is going to, because I know most of you, and I can tell by Donna's voice, she's not going to attack anybody, but I need to say that. Introductions. My name is Dorit. I'm the chair of this committee. Anyone else want to jump in and introduce themselves? Or does everyone know each other?
Hugo, go ahead.
Okay, well,
I just
Hugo.
wanted to introduce myself to Donna. Hi, Donna. Nice to meet you. I'm Hugo. I'm one of the at-large reps for UNNC. I live in the Angeles Vista area. Nice to meet you, Donna.
Nice to meet you as well.
Beautiful. Now that we all have met each other. Okay, folks, I just want this to be open-ended right now. What do we want to see? What do you folks want to see from this committee? I'm rather new to the neighborhood. I moved here last July. By the time we got fully moved in and unpacked, COVID happened, so I haven't been out and about and meeting as many people as I'd like to. I'm chairing this committee because parks mean a lot to me. They meant a lot to me when I was raising my child, when I lived over in Silver Lake. They were very important to my family, very important to my mental and physical well-being, very important to raising my kid. So I want to know from everyone, what do you envision from this committee? Do we want to seek out more parklands? Do we want to just improve the parks we have? Somebody jump in and start talking, or I'll keep babbling. All right, I'm going to point to somebody. Donna, what do you want from this committee?
What I'd like is for us to find out when and how the parks will open, and when they do, we need to support the ones that are in, actually here within the UNNC footprint, and see what we can do to get them back where they need to be, to evaluate them, to make sure the supervisor for the area is aware that we are watching, to make sure that they are kept as they should be, and to make sure that they are safe as they should be. And from there, then we can get back, once we get a director for South Sea Center, we can go back to doing all the activities we've done before, and maybe adding to the other parks that are local to us that we would have some oversight of. That's what I'd like to see, and I'm willing to work toward.
Cool. So you pointed out safe. Has that been an issue in the past, that the park has been less than safe?
Not so much Potter, South Seas. We've had a couple of issues since it's been closed because there's no oversight. But we came a long way, and we actually went from a real concern of unsavory and people sleeping in the park to a high level, I felt, safe, family oriented space. And we had good directors. We had lots of wonderful activities, and every weekend it was full. It shouldn't be full now. So, we have to look toward, finding out what happens, what falls during the winter, and what we can do. Get a new director. Our directors we've been changing directors like our socks. And Miss Nishihara has to if she's not going to have a director, then she's going to be the director. So, and then they love to say pocket park too. The just West Adams area parks. And I explained to them, a pocket park is what you think it is. To us, it's Griffith Park. So we're going to treat it like that. And that's why we ended up getting, through our council president, Herb Wesson, who's not president now, but I still call him that, $1 million upgrade of the park. And we're truly, it's beautiful, kept well. Our staff that cleans and cares for it does a fabulous job. And overall, we're lucky in that. But I'm just concerned where we're gonna go with the second house and getting it renoed and getting it retested, because once it's retested, we may find that the situation is remedied itself, because a lot of the houses around here had the same issues and we all live in them, and there's a way to manage that. And hopefully there's gonna be some money at some point for renoing of parks only. I know there's not gonna be a lot of money for everything, but maybe there's money that will come from corporations and such that we can reach out to and write for and get our park. Right now it's in good shape outside of the next door house.
Beautiful.
I believe that Benny Potter is the only ADA park within not only UNNC's footprint.
Jeff, I can tell you're talking, but I can't hear you.
How's this?
Much better, sweetie.
Benny Potter and Donna, the dollar figure was 3.2 million, but it's a fully compliant ADA park, and that is a jewel in UNNC's footprint. But I also believe it is probably, if not the only one, in South LA as we know it.
The only, what, ADA park you're saying?
Yeah.
Isn't it Shane's inspiration? It's a kind of park that they started doing a while back, and we were lucky enough to receive that blessing. And everyone should be able to use the park, and it's kept up, and we're super excited about that. I'll keep quiet, Laura, go.
Well, I'll call on, yes, Laura. I'll make you green. Okay. Laura, you're muted. Laura keeps talking even though she's muted.
Okay, now I got it. It's not just that we're ADA compliant. Actually, UNNC put in a proposal for a universally accessible jungle gym, and it is based on the Shane's. So Shane's was first, we were second, and I do not know how many others there are, but it started with UNNC working with USC School of Engineering to accomplish that. So it's a real feather in the hat of our stakeholders who created it. So sorry, was listening, but the $1 million went to, we did get $1 million as well. It went to the Jefferson Park, the one at 3rd and Jefferson. So
Leslie Shaw.
Leslie Shaw. So we UNNC were instrumental in helping the community get another grant for a different park. So,
which is a really nice park, but it's quite dirty right now.
Yeah.
I went to both parks today. Leslie Shaw is a really lovely park, but it's quite dirty.
Yeah. All right, I'm muting again.
All right. Hugo, tell us what you want to see in parks. Or from this, what do you want from this committee?
Okay, one idea that I've been thinking about since last year, and I kind of just kept it to asking professors about it, like what they thought, was trying to open up little parks in vacant areas, like in areas where in our neighborhood it's just like empty lots and where it's like just grass. I figured maybe if we can get members of the community to, I guess, be organized and committed to keeping the area clean and maybe speaking to the owner of the lot, whichever lot it may be. Maybe we can convert it into some kind of temporary park with whatever permits that we need or whatever approvals that we need. I think Laura probably might know better about that than me. But I've kind of been thinking about doing something like that. Yeah, there's close to UNNC, the park that my family and I has gone to the most is Normandy Park. And I haven't gone recently, obviously, because I'm older. But one of the things that I liked about it was not just how big it was, but like the different things that you could do there, like basketball courts and like the little jungle gym, like the little gymnastics, like hanging ropes. Obviously, for a small temporary park, that would not be possible because tens of thousands of dollars involved with like creating a basketball court or something like that. But I think if there's just little areas where people can just see a whole bunch of grass and just sit there and have a picnic, at a reasonable distance from one another. I think it would be good to build the morale. And for Angeles Vista, it's kind of far from the park. We usually have to go kind of far from here if you want to go to a park. And so I just think that would be a nice thing to do. Of course, I'm not too sure about the feasibility because of the costs or the permissions or the permits. But that's definitely one thing that I've been thinking about for like around a year now. But I've really kind of put that to the side, and I'm just remembering it now.
So one thing those are called pocket parks. One thing so from this committee, you would like us to, not tomorrow, of course, but put in one of our mission and goals to look for expanding pocket parks and expanding green opportunities for people in the UNNC footprint. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
You're studying urban planning, right?
Yeah.
So I would love to know what your professors had to say about your idea of what you just told us.
Right, yeah, one of them actually, I found out about it actually because of one of the professors. And then she wasn't sure of like how to get it implemented because she had more of a background in real estate development, but she also had a background in urban planning, but that wasn't something that she did. Yeah, for now, I think, a nice thing to focus on would just be having like, nice area, like green spaces. Because at least in Angeles Vista, there's some spots here where it's just like, there's nowhere where you can just like sit down, relax. Some parts don't have a lot of trees. I just feel like even one would make a difference. At least in like the area that I walk around in the most is like Angeles Vista, because I live here. Yeah, I have to do more research about like pocket parks and stuff like that because I wasn't familiar with that term. I kind of thought it was something else. I kind of thought it was like the one in Washington by the library.
That's a pocket
That's a pocket park.
That's a pocket park. But
That's
that
a
one,
nice one too.
But that one is permanent, right?
Yeah, pocket parks are a permanent thing, and usually on city property. I know when I was on the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council, we had a traffic island turned into a pocket park.
Right.
Because it was big enough to turn into a pocket park.
Okay, because what I was mentioning was was a park that's temporary. Because although I know it would be nice to have a pocket park, and I'm totally for that too. But what I mentioned was more of like, I guess, a temporary park in like an empty lot that maybe hasn't been used for years, and it might as well be used for something temporarily. And from what I remember, there's usually I think it's an agreement that's done with the city maybe or a department, and there's also like like an agreement on how to transition it for when the owner of the property wants to sell it or develop it. There's like there's an agreement on how it's going to be done and how long it's going to take to transition that. Um, so the one I was referring to was just like a temporary one.
That sounds
Yeah.
good too.
Dorit Lissy has joined us.
I see. Hi, Lizzie.
Hello.
Right now we are talking about what we would like to, sorry, Hugo, if you're done, I'm gonna jump to Lizzie. Are you done, sweetie?
Yeah, I'm done. Also, hi, Lizzie.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, I was at another meeting, the HPOZ
Understandable.
for my neighborhood. So, yes.
So right now we're talking about what we want from this committee. It's very casual, just what would you like to see this committee do as far as parks, recreation, green space? I believe in, yeah, start speaking and I will start taking notes.
All right. So I have had an idea for quite some time, ever since I joined the board. And I just don't know how to go about it, but there is a street that goes from the, the side of the library, in between the library and the park. It is called Prescott Court, and it goes it sort of cuts I think it goes over 2 blocks. So I was thinking, because I was inspired by a similar street, which is on, I think it's closer to where you live, it goes alongside Normandy, and I think it goes from maybe 24th Street, 23rd, and 22nd maybe. So about 2-3 blocks, and it's called El Paseo. And I was told that it was probably a shortcut for people to get to the cemetery, to Rosedale Cemetery. I'm not sure about that. But what they've done, and that has been a neighborhood effort, I believe. They have planted a lot of, so there's lots of plants alongside that road. And they do a yearly cleanup through Big Sunday. And so when I first saw Prescott Court, it reminded me of El Paseo. And I was thinking it would be great if we could have greenery alongside that, those 2 or 3 blocks. And it runs parallel to Arlington, I believe. So it runs alongside the sides of some of the houses. So I don't know if it's possible, because I think it would be a great opportunity for people who want to walk, maybe mothers with babies on their strollers, to just walk and something more relaxed, casual, with some sort of landscaping. So I'm just speaking out loud. That has been in my mind all these years.
So this was the park over on Jefferson, the Shaw Park.
The Leslie Shaw Park.
To the, I don't know what the name of the Jefferson Library is. It's, sorry,
Gosh.
I just know it's a Jefferson Library, so forgive me for not knowing the names.
Well, it's the Jefferson branch, yes.
It just, is that street, forgive me for not knowing it really well, it's just a walking street, right? Or is it actually a street with cars are allowed?
No, it's a very tiny walking path. It almost looks like an alley, but it's not.
I think I know which one that is.
Yes.
Lizzie, are you referring to the one that runs north and south right next to the park, in between the library and the park going?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, Jeff.
yeah.
That is exactly the one. And I don't know if you're familiar with El Paseo. It even has a plaque. So apparently it has it has some historical significance. It's historically significant. I just don't know the story, but it does have a plaque.
So one of the things you're liking or wanting to see is, instead of just a sidewalk running between those spaces, is having it a little bit more landscaped and perhaps
Yes.
walker friendly, because no vehicles are going through it anyway.
Exactly. It'd be a perfect walking path, because right now it's just walls, and that is also my concern, because these are I suppose it's private property, so the neighbors would have to agree, and maybe even that path might have to be narrowed down a bit in order to accommodate plants, so.
You can make it more windy.
I'm sorry?
I said you could make it more windy.
Windy or whiny? Okay, Laura's got her hand
windy
up.
Because right now it's just a sidewalk. Once you remove the sidewalk and you make room for plantings and trees and what have you, instead of being a straight sidewalk, you would have a diatomaceous earth covering, maybe with some stones and pebbles, but it would be a wavy walk between the space.
I see.
Liz, that's a great idea. I love that. I know I've seen that happen in Hollywood with a couple of alleys that was allowed to happen, but it was when Hollywood was jumping, so I don't know. Actually, I'm not gonna say negative stuff. That's a great idea. Now Laura's got her hand up, so it's Laura's turn.
Yes.
But Laura's muted. Laura's saying great stuff now, but she's muted.
You saw what I was about to say. Sorry. If, with your permission, I can share the screen. I have an image of where Prescott Court is.
Super duper.
And the only concern I would have is in terms of undoing the sidewalk. Can you guys see that? It's that thing running down the middle from 30th to Jefferson. But I think it has its own historic something or other, and it's in the preservation plan. So I think you could maybe plant it, but I'm not sure you can make it not concrete. That would take people wiser than me to know. But anyway, so you can see where it's located. It's between Arlington and 4th, halfway down, and between 30th and Jefferson. And I believe there was some effort. I'm trying to remember, Louis Marcassano and his ex-wife, whose name escapes me, but they used to live on 31st Street, were heading up some community effort some years ago about Prescott Court. And I would think that Colleen Davis, who lives right there as well, and who is the historic consultant who prepared the Jefferson Park first round draft of the preservation plan, would probably be a good resource as to what can or could not be done, not how much it would cost, but what historically would be allowed.
Laura, would you feel comfortable introducing us via email to this person that you just, I think her name was Colleen?
Colleen Davis. And
would you feel comfortable? Thank you.
And
Thank
do you want me to stop the share? Is this enough? Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody
And
stopped it for me.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, I knew that when Lizzie said that there is some historical significance or another, that Laura would know what that historical significance
Right.
is.
Or that there is,
because
anyway.
Laura knows everything about history of our community, and she's a treasure for that.
Well, not everything, but
Yeah, you do. I think everyone except for Jeff, you haven't shared what you want to see yet.
I'm sorry, Dory, can I just jump back in?
Sure.
El Paseo, I do know the people who've been involved with that as well. So if this became a project, I could put you all in contact with them as well.
I do know, that's Marcos Flores.
Yes, Marco Flores, exactly.
Yes.
And
I can reach out to him.
Oh, okay, so you know Marco. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Jeff,
Yes.
what do you want to see from our community, this committee?
Yeah, remember, I'm a moderator here. I will join in as a stakeholder after November 3rd. But I would like to say that I would echo Donna's comments that we look at and utilize our current pocket parks and our current parks. How can we make them better? And I would like to thank Hugo and Lizzie both for opening up potential opportunities to expand on what it is we already have. You know, how can we look at alleyways? How can we look at Prescott? How can we make more green walking spaces that are safe for people? I know there are properties that abut the north of Leslie Shaw Park, but can you imagine that whole alley being a part of Prescott and a walking space? And so I think if we focus on utilizing our current resources and how we can improve upon them, and then discover new resources, whether that's an empty lot and working out a deal between the city and the property owner to having a temporary green space, even if it may disappear once they sell the property. Those are all excellent directions.
Beautiful. I'm going to tell you what I want to see from this committee. I'd love to see some community gardens. The community gardens would be a really great way to incorporate what Hugo is talking about. I've seen other communities do community gardens in areas that were in between being developed, you know, where the developer bought the land, tore down what was ever there, and before they got all their permits and everything, allowed the community to do community gardens in barrels and in pots, not like in the dirt there, because everything would have to be removed later. I'd also like to see some permanent community gardens in areas that are like traffic islands or mediums, or areas that are not big enough for an actual proper park or even a pocket park, but just a community garden where people can go and grow their own food, who don't have the ability to have a backyard or a front yard, but maybe just live in an apartment. Our community here, like all of LA, is got a lot of folks that have migrated here, that might have migrated like my parents did from areas where they were farmers. And I know for my mom especially, it meant a lot to her to be part of the dirt, to be part of the land. And it meant a lot to both my parents to be able to grow food and raise a couple of livestock that the city of Santa Monica at once told them they were not allowed to raise in the city of Santa Monica. But I know that there's a lot of our community members here that would probably feel really good to be able to be part of growing their own food and taking care of plants. So I'd love to see some community gardens. I hope this committee can add some of its responsibilities down the line, not today, to include libraries, unless, someone correct me here, unless there's already a UNNC committee that focuses on libraries. I would like the idea to add libraries to this as just community things that the community needs that are provided by the city, like parks and libraries. So that's what I'd like to see from this committee. I know LAU is, Hugo, I see your hand up. I'm going to finish my sentence if you don't mind. I know that from the description of this committee, LAUSD and school campuses were also included. That is a little bit too big of a monster right now for me to tackle, to bring in, but down the line, of course, we'll start incorporating what the framers of this committee had in mind to see if we want to address including schools and green spaces from school. Okay, Hugo, your turn, sweetie.
Okay, sorry if it seemed like if I was rushing you. I just wanted to leave it on. Right. I wanted to comment on what Lizzie said. I searched up El Paseo, and I noticed that on the topic of accessibility, I'm not sure if Lizzie mentioned it, but I noticed that to get on it there were stairs, like 2 or 3 steps rather, and I feel maybe having a ramp there would be easier. But again, I'm not sure if it would even be accessible for people in wheelchairs, because the one in El Paseo is kind of narrow.
It is very narrow,
Yeah.
yes.
So I don't know if there would even be a point in making ramps if people in wheelchair can't even fit in it. But I
Right.
think it's wide. I think it's wide enough for people in a wheelchair to fit in. I think it might be, but it's just something to think about. And then I also like the idea of the community gardens. I haven't thought about that in a while. Years ago, me, my dad, and my brother, and hi Jeff, we went to a community garden. I'm not sure if it's considered part of UNNC's boundary because it's on the west side of Crenshaw, so I don't think it technically is, but it's south of the KFC on Crenshaw and Venice. And there was one there that we went to, and then we applied for it, and we actually didn't hear from them for like 6 to 8 years or something like that.
Wow.
And that's when we were able to do it again, like not do it again, but like to go there and actually like do something. But by that point, we didn't want to do it anymore. And so I think it would be nice to have one like that, you know, all around UNNC. And I've seen one like on like what is it, like Union by Pico, like in between Pico and Olympic. There's one right there too, and that one seems really nice. And the last thing I wanted to mention about the libraries was that I've been in contact with Isaac from our board,
Yeah.
and we've been discussing things about like the old Washington Library, the one that's on what is it, like north of Washington on Arlington.
Yes.
And so we were trying to like investigate that and see all the costs associated with opening it up. And it might not end up being a library, that's because there's already one. But I just wanted to mention that we've been in discussion with that. And so I'm not sure if maybe that would be appropriate for this committee.
Well, my goal for that library is similar to what was done in Council District 4, where they took another closed library, had been closed for 35 years, a historic landmark as well, and turned it into a women's shelter. Would love to see something like that. And I know there's different groups out there that are actually eyeing that property to turn it into a shelter or drop-in center of some kind. So that's for that. But Jeff, I believe, had his hand up and he let us actually see his face for a minute.
Thank you. I was indeed raising my hand because as co-host, we can't do that or have that ability.
Oh.
Just a little bit of history and to compliment you, Dorit, yes, I think that there's no reason why this committee could not tie in libraries. A little bit of UNNC history. Maria Stelli and Elizabeth Finner actually planted a native garden as a learning experience for all of the people attending the Washington Library. And that's actually in their patio out back behind the library. So I think that's an absolute perfect tie-in and win-win. We have also did the plantings, and I don't want to get into the tree stuff, but again, Fourth Avenue was a big, the Fourth Avenue overpass was at one point going to be shut down. And that was a major pathway for people north of the freeway and people south of the freeway to join other communities. People north of the freeway would use that both as ADA, as families just walking to get to the park. And so part of that walking path was paid for by UNNC to enhance it so it didn't seem gang ridden or graffitied. And you know, so there's lots of things that can be put under the rec and park umbrella as well as their mission. It's not just the parks, it's how to get there. It's how to, you know, better improve the environments around those parks. And speaking of which, there is an actual community garden north of Benny Potter Park on 23rd Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. I believe it's called Crenshaw Green or Crenshaw Seeds, but it's there. So there are opportunities to do the things that you mentioned.
Would you be kind enough to say those streets again, please? 24th, you said?
It's actually 23rd Street, so it's the freeway wall. That's 23rd, and it's literally between it's almost the whole lot between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue, just north of Benny Potter Park.
And is that on private property, or is that city-owned land?
It is private, and I believe, just like you mentioned with the Hollywood one, because Hugh and I actually joined a co-op in Hollywood. We were in, oh goodness, over by Holly Drive, and with our son, we paid $35 a month and tended our own garden and went on Saturdays to help them maintain the property. And I think that's what's happening with either Crenshaw Green or Crenshaw Seed, which is at 23rd between 2nd and 3rd Avenue.
That is a lot of money, $35 a month, isn't it?
And that was way back then.
Wow.
I was hoping for something free.
Depends how good of a landlord you've got.
I was thinking, my goal was just city land, like just city property that isn't being used for anything else and can't really be used for something else. My reference is more towards Silver Lake, which has a lot of stairways. So besides the stairways was where a lot of the parks were put, and they were basically free to do, or free to be a member of. I think Laura was jumping around with her hands up.
I was sorry, I can't raise the blue hand because I'm one of the hosts. And again, I've been walking back and forth, but it sounds like one of the things that's been brought up here and there was something more like community gardens.
That was one of the stuff. Yeah.
And could that be a part of this committee? I would say yes, but I also just wanted to point out that we've had a case that's kind of pending at planning and zoning, but it would be just as perfect for you. The historical, by that I mean not like architecturally significant, but culturally, the old long-time community garden on Crenshaw on the west side of the street, so it's a boundary situation with us and Mink, is threatened right now by a huge development just to the south of it that, if built as originally proposed, would shade the garden so dramatically that there would no longer be a garden because we couldn't garden. So
Oh.
we haven't brought that to the board. I mean, it's on the whole project's on hold right now for other reasons, but it would seem that if community gardens become a part of your mission, then that whole case probably comes to you before it goes to the board, if it ever goes to our board. So, and again, if you can visualize, this would be on Crenshaw between Pico and Venice.
Hugo was talking about that. His family was involved in that garden.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I'm coming back and forth, but did Hugo mention it's threatened?
I don't know. Hugo, did you know it was threatened?
No, I didn't. Well, we tried to get involved, but they let us know in a point in time where we weren't able to actually go to the community garden anymore and make time for it. So we didn't end up actually going there. Because it was like 6 years. I think maybe there was a lot of people there at the time,
Yeah.
so we were like on a waiting list. But we haven't thought about it since, and I wasn't aware of that situation.
Right. There's 40 some families, and they checked the addresses. So like 6 or 8 of them were families within our footprint, meaning in terms of residential addresses. But again, you know, I don't know what's happening with that. It's been on hold for some time. The person who's advocating to save the garden every month or so sends another email to the planner at, Kyle Winston, and says, hey, when can I see the case file? And Kyle doesn't respond. Anyway, but significantly there would be no sun, so that was the issue.
Yes,
Lizzie
Jeff,
has her
thank
hand
you.
raised.
Go ahead. Thank you, Laura. Go ahead, Lizzie.
All right. So a couple of years ago, I found a database, I believe, that identifies city owned property in the area, and I believe there was some on the southern side of Jefferson Park. I don't know if because by exposition there's Jeff and Laura, are you familiar with the Western Yard?
Does not sound familiar.
No, I think it's property of the city of LA. But anyway, on maybe.
Oh, that one. Yeah, they use that for work vehicles, and I also believe maybe some composting and some other issues. So that might not be a location that's usable.
Okay, but I believe there was some talk. It was I found some article that they were saying there's some property around there that might be available to be used. I don't know if they were planning to create something else, but I believe maybe community garden. I'm pretty sure I read something about that. I'll try to do my research again, but there was a database.
I do remember the city put out a database about 3 years ago of all city-owned land. I know that a group I was working with at the time tried to find city-owned land that would make good homeless housing or homeless shelters. So, yay. Good work, Lizzie. And good memory came back to you.
Yes. I'll try to find again what it was all about. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I believe if everyone is chimed in, sorry, my cat is here now. If everyone is chimed in about what they want to see this committee, I believe Jeff has been putting notes in the chat room, and whatever he doesn't have there, I actually took some notes. Is there anybody who's got anything else to say? Because everyone's spoken, so I want to give everyone a second round, or if everyone has already said everything they need to say, we could just talk about next meeting.
Yeah. No.
I just wanted to say, I'm probably the one that's least familiar with all of the parks. but I think it might be good to figure out how to distribute parks and green space evenly. Although I'm from Angeles Vista, I'm not just talking about Angeles Vista. I'm talking about all of the different regions of UNNC. And so I feel it might be good to maybe make like a little map or something to have like a clear vision of where they are, and then try to make it as even as we possibly can. Obviously, there are roadblocks. There's all sorts of obstacles, but at least that way we have kind of an idea of how to spread them out.
That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be make sure everyone gets some of the love, and not just
Mm-hmm.
areas that talk the most.
Right.
Donna, you've been quiet for a bit. Do you have anything more to add? I know that your focus is on the parks that we already have existing, on Seven Seas House and the house next to it, and that big park that's there as well. Do you have anything else you want to, after we've been speaking, that you may want to focus on, or you may want this committee to focus on? I guess not. All right. Well, if no one else has anything else, next meeting. So the meetings are going to be, I know today's the first Tuesday of the month, but moving forward, starting in October, the meetings are going to be the second Monday. Does that cause any issue for anybody? Is second Monday bad? Good?
Mm,
Okay.
I think it's fine for me
Beautiful.
so far.
What time do folks like meetings to start? This one started at 7:30, which is kind of on the late side. Do we want to
Yeah.
start earlier?
I think earlier, but whatever the majority decides is fine.
I think I want to speak to some of the parents as well. Like Jenny has a couple of kids, and ask her if having the meeting started earlier is a good idea. If the meeting
Sure.
starts around 6 or 6:30, would that be too early for everybody else to be here? Since no one's saying no, I'm guessing it's okay. Go
Yeah,
for it.
I'm fine. It's fine with me.
Okay, so we're going to start at 6:30. The next one will be the second Monday of October, okay?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I will type up the notes. I have everyone's email except Donna. I don't have your email. So I don't know.
I can get that one to you.
All right, so I will type up the notes, and I will re-listen to the recording if I can figure out how on earth to do that. And I will type up the notes and have it out to everyone by Sunday. I know that's a long time from now, but every day this week is packed. So everyone will have them notes by Sunday. Is that cool? Yay.
Sounds
Yes.
great. And Dorit, just a couple of tips. You can go to the group window and literally highlight it and copy and paste it into something else. Or you can click on the 3 dots at the bottom and save it as a file. I usually just copy, paste, and email it to myself.
That's what I'll do, but I think you stopped taking notes pretty early. Do you have any more? Or if
The
you
last
don't,
one was 7:59 p.m.
right. Yeah. Alrighty. This is good. This is very, 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 very good. So I will take this, and then maybe, Jeff, you and I will talk later about how I can listen to the recording to make sure I get everything plus my own notes. And I will have them to everyone this week. Next meeting will be the second Monday in October, which according to my calendar would be October 12th, which is actually Columbus Day or Indigenous Americans Day.
Right.
So the holiday, I hope no one minds meeting on a holiday, but we'll talk closer to that day.
Yeah.
And if anyone has ideas for the next meeting, send me an email. Or you can shoot them out right now and I'll start taking notes. Hello, Laura. What's your ideas for next meeting?
Unmuting. No, I just want to ask Jeff, we're switching from Tuesday to a Monday. Does that mean you will not be able to moderate? We need a different moderator?
No, that should not be an issue, but Jeff would really like to have Monday off.
I get that, Jeff. I'm sorry.
So Jeff, did you not say you were you had signed up for something else on Mondays?
No, the only thing I'm signed up for Mondays is the first Monday of the month because I'm on the Southwest CPAP board. And sometimes because of the holidays, that falls on the second Monday, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll just figure this out because Asai hopefully will get a Zoom license and can be our Zoom guru like we have discussed as well.
And hopefully the board votes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Oh, we can't talk about that.
Yeah, there's too many people in this room.
Exactly. But
When's the agenda come out?
But in the end, Dorit, I will always do it if I have to. I'm just struggling, but yeah.
When does it? Has the agenda come out for Thursday's meeting yet? Okay, I'll check my emails.
Well, oh no, you mean have I put send on the email? No, I have to do that tonight still. Yes, it's only 8:30. I have time.
All righty. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much.
All right,
Donna,
thank
you got it. I see Donna unmuted herself. Do you have anything to add?
No, I celebrate every night our heroes. So I bang on pots and we run up and down the street and make noise. So I had to come back, do that at 8. So I enjoyed meeting you and I'll be a part whatever happens. But I'm a park person, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, as I told the rest of the group, I'll have the meeting minutes typed up by Sunday. If I could figure out how to listen to the recording of this meeting, I'll have them typed up and sent to everyone Sunday evening, okay?
Thank you.
So if there's nothing else, people, you're getting out half an hour early. Go use it wisely.
Yay.
Or unwisely.
Nice job, Dorit.
All right. Thank you so much, Dorit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice
Good
talking
night.
to you.
Bye.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
So I stay until everyone goes.
Okay, Lara. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. End the meeting.